Yeah.
I don't think that would help.
All right. We are live. So, welcome everybody. Even though I don't think we have anybody in our live stream yet, it's just going to be us for the first little bit, and that's fine. We're going to talk about character alignment. So this is something that I've never really understood extremely well, I feel like. So we could probably rename this video to like 3 knuckleheads try to understand alignment, and then put it on the internet, because that basically we're going to do a little bit of analysis and talk about it, and we're going to talk about some of the weeds a little bit, because it gets kind of tricky. Go ahead, Sonny.
Technically, that'd be 1 knucklehead and 2 knuckleheadlings.
And 2.
Hey,
oh, okay.
I'm a whole knucklehead.
No, we're young knuckleheads.
There we go, full knucklehead. All right. So,
Okay.
Are you guys aware at all of like the history of the alignment system? Wait, first of all, let me do this. I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to have a look at the way that different people have tried to represent alignment. Okay, so give me a quick second. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go entire screen right here. Share that. Okay. Okay, so you guys can see that? All right, so I'm pretty sure that this comes out of like the Dungeon Master Guide, I think. For me, this is not helpful to me. I don't, I just look at it, it just looks like a mess, like a flower. And, you've got law, chaos, good, evil. And then you've got, this representation does not help me. What do you guys think about it?
I mean, I think it's okay. It kind of looks like, what's those things on the maps that like go like this and then like this and then like this?
An x-axis.
Like a Cartesian plane, coordinates?
Yes, but it coordinal star or something like that.
Yeah. It's like a Cartesian plane. Cartesian plane is named after René Descartes. He's the guy that basically invented algebra. And
I hate algebra.
Well, yeah. And he's the guy that came up with the...
we should kill him again.
Cogito ergo sum, philosophical conclusion. I think, therefore I am. So in other words, I can prove my existence by the fact that I can think. So anyway, brilliant man. But yeah, anyway. So this representation, I don't like it. It doesn't really help me. But if we go over to like, this one's pretty plain. It kind of puts them in like a 9-sided matrix. That's what we use for like the female.
I like it, but I feel like they need to switch evil and good's placement. So it's evil versus good, because makes you think lawful good is evil, because it's like.
Oh, because it has good versus evil, and good's down here and then evil here. But then we have good and then evil like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of messed up. And then if you take a look at this one, I like the attempt at the colors, but it seems to be like equating lawful and good, because it uses the same color for lawful and good, green, and the same color for chaotic and evil as red. And then but I don't think that this is a true representation, because those two dimensions are not the same. Otherwise, why wouldn't we have just a 3-point alignment system like things started out in Dungeons and Dragons, right? So it used to be in Dungeons and Dragons, that was the alignment system. It was just lawful, neutral, and chaotic, right? And those were the 3 choices. I kind of like that, or at least the 3-point alignment system. And would always interpret myself as, lawful and chaotic as good and evil, and neutral as selfish. And I have a hard time making sense of it, doing it any other way, or, having it useful in any practical sense. Unless I, think of it in those terms. But I know that some people kind of get, this is a very contentious issue, right? Like people, that's why it's like, it's the kind of thing where you tread lightly, because the people are going to have all kinds of crazy opinions and everything. I'm sure I'll probably make it on Driving and Dragons stupid list for this next week, based on this video. Or if I do, it would probably be this video that I'm going to get that distinction. But yeah, so basically, that 3-point alignment system, I think it's sufficient, right? The reason I think that is because I feel like you can basically categorize everybody into those 3 slots without a lot of trouble. You've got good people and you know who they are. You have selfish people, you can identify them through some experience. And you have evil people, and there's not a lot of question about who those people are. So
I feel like sometimes that's right, but also there's that like blank spot. Like, would you say a murderer is an evil person?
Yeah.
But also, then what if the murderer only killed the person because that story of the mom who killed her daughter's rapist because
Yeah, so that's kind of like a righteous indignation kind of killing, or revenge killing, crime of passion, maybe. I don't know if you could even I guess technically it's a crime of passion because it would be against the law. But really, in a righteous society, a parent would have full authority to do that, right? So, is that an evil act? No, I don't think so. I think it's technically incorrect because we have a lawful structure around law and order to try and keep an orderly pace with all of these types of actions and disciplinary decisions. But if it's just you, your family, and you're in the wilderness living in a cabin, and you meet some other group of people, and as far as you're basically the only ones on earth, and then that happens, you're fully within your rights. Why? Because it is naturally your right to do that.
Us and the marauders when we find each other in the wilderness.
Yeah, it's so when you reduce, it's important to decide between right and wrong. I think it's really important to reduce the situation down to, what if it was just me by myself on an island, and then somebody else, I made contact with some other person or something like that, and just reduce it to that simple of a situation. And then if I do A, B, or C, is that right or is that wrong? And then you can take those principles and you can build those out into society. And then it's okay, well, you can institute those principles for government as well. So it's not right for me to take the provisions of my neighbor guy on the island, right? But if our population increases, and then I get voted into a council, and the council decrees that neighbor guy has to give me his provisions, we know that's wrong, right? Because it's on the fundamental basis, when it's just me and him on the island, I never had that right? So the fact that I'm on some kind of a council, I can't just assume that right, because I never had it in the first place. And mankind can only delegate their rights, their powers that they already have. They can't delegate powers that they don't have, right? So that's a guiding principle for government. But that kind of is a bit tangential, but it does kind of fit. Let's take a look at some of these others, some of these other things here. So this, I kind of like this because each one is distinct and its own thing. Because like when we have this kind of matrix pattern here of these two dimensions intersecting, it really kind of, and these two dimensions are like not really related to each other, right? They're kind of like autonomous to each other. It really kind of makes each of the 9 its own thing, right? So I like that they're different colors and they all kind of have their own personality. What I don't like is like the obvious typo, legal, neutral, legal, evil. So I think the guy was like asleep at the wheel when he was making this. But other than that, I kind of like this representation. What do you guys think? Too legal for you?
Yeah, I don't know. If our screen freezes, it's because my room has bad internet. But also, I think it's because maybe he was thinking of lawful as like not lawful to like a god or anything, but like strictly lawful to the government and following the rules like by the letter.
That feels like it'd be its own brand of chaos. Like you follow rules down to the exact letter of the law. Imagine how much problems you could cause with that.
A lot of people do it.
Those are the people that go on HOAs. Yeah. And then there's all those tiny little rules. And if you don't follow each and every one, then you're gonna hear about it. You know, they're gonna come and harass you. Those are the HOA people.
They're gonna break into your house.
They're legal good.
They're lawful evil. Or lawful neutral, maybe legal. Lawful neutral, because like anyway. But yeah, that brings up a very interesting point, because like lawful to what in reference to what? Chaotic in reference to what exactly? Like are we lawful towards, you know, some kind of code of conduct? What code of conduct? Are we talking about a legal structure put in by government? Is that it? Or are we talking about a framework, a legal framework brought about by like a religious authority, right? Or something else? So if we consider those two things, they don't seem to correspond in my mind, you know, because in my mind, it's often the case, or could very easily be the case, that you could have governmental authority requiring this set of statutes and religious authority requiring a completely different set of statutes, and them being at odds. So if you were a lawful alignment, which one are you following, right? And then you know, when you follow one or the other, you're disregarding the other one, right? So you're lawful to one, right? So you're lawful in one dimension only, but in this other dimension, you're ignoring that because it's not important to you, right? So lawful to what? Chaotic to what? You know, and then the thing about chaos is, okay, so when would it ever be like of utilitarian value for things to be in utter and complete chaos, right? So if just imagine a state where there is no order to anything, this world wouldn't exist, right?
Afghanistan circa 1996 to
not even that, right? Because in Afghanistan there was like water molecules, there was, you know, trees growing, you know, or maybe not trees, but there's, you know, some kind of flora and fauna. Yeah, so if in the absence of that utter and total chaos, what's the utilitarian value of that? It does absolutely no good. So no one is truly on the side of chaos, are they? Does that mean like a total disruption of all consciousness? and everything would disappear.
I feel
And so
like
you'd have to be a total and utter nihilist, wanting to bring everything into complete disorder and annihilation. Wouldn't you?
Hey, I feel like I know someone like that.
Who?
Someone at your school? The weird kid at school?
Yeah. Maybe.
I feel like you could best interpret the differences of lawful and chaotic as lawful is the general global consensus of what is morally good.
But wait a second. That's the dimension of good and evil, right?
Yeah.
So we have two dimensions and they're separate. So we have good versus evil, and in the middle is neutral. And then we have law and chaos, and in the middle of that is neutral. So if lawful is morally good, then why do we have it separate from good? You know what I mean?
I feel like if it's lawful as like I feel like even if as if it's in religion, like if you're following something by the letter, like if you're following anything strictly, it can be for the good or bad. Like for example, the cult that drank the deadly Kool-Aid, or also for example that slavery was once legal and commonly happened, and now we all know it's not good, and we all know that that Kool-Aid was poisoned.
Yeah.
So that wasn't good.
Jonestown Massacre.
So
Jim Jones. Was
I
it?
think that the best way to separate them is by saying the lawful constituent, if that's the right word I'm using.
What does that even mean?
I don't know. Sometimes I just know words, Abby. The
No.
lawful.
Just throw them out there. Whatever sticks.
Whatever
Spaghetti
sticks.
on the wall.
Sometimes it works. I don't know. I don't know where it comes from. The lawful separation in alignments I would interpret that as a doing things in the benefit of another.
I don't know, because I feel like that'd be like good, like lawful good. Like I don't know, because I always think of
Well,
lawful.
what about lawful evil then?
Yeah, like
Lawful evil would be the
Because an evil person
destruction.
is going to not serve other people unless they are, unless they see something in it for themselves, right?
Yeah, it would be the destruction of one thing for the purpose of another is lawful evil. Sort of Darth Vader.
yeah, that's what I think. I think lawful, like just lawful in general, I feel like what it means to me is that like it's just following something strictly by like the word. Like for example, like if you were to follow scriptures exactly by the word, or the laws exactly by the word.
Yeah. You could even put Batman in lawful good because he has a moral code and he just won't break it.
Yeah, I mean, I that makes the law side does make a lot of sense, because like you'll have these authorities of law, and people are going to want to decide to what degree they're going to respect those things, right? So the thing is, like, what's the lawful authority?
Yeah, I think that's the big question. Like, what higher purpose or what higher person or purpose or thing are you serving?
Yeah, and the thing is, because someone who is lawful towards government is going to be a completely different person that's lawful towards religion.
Yeah.
Right? Because whatever the government says is like, oh yes, sir. You fall in line, do whatever they say, whatever comes from them, and then, but the religious authorities like not going to observe that. They're not going to abide that if it conflicts with their religious authority.
Yeah.
So they're going to be lawful that. And so we might have two guys that are
following Both lawful.
Could even have the exact same alignment, lawful good, right? Because maybe they both, their hearts drawn out towards their fellow man. But one guy thinks that you need to do exactly what the government says, and another guy says you need to do exactly what the sacred scrolls teach. And, but they have a very, very different view on life, and they might have very, very different actions as a result. Actually, they probably definitely would.
Well, that basically cracks the code on lawful, though. Lawful is defined by a character who is bound to a code of conduct.
That's a good definition.
Yeah. But chaotic is not. Now, I think I can visualize a chaotic evil thing, right? So, like an orc, I think is chaotic evil. Why? Well, because they go around and they indiscriminately cause havoc, disaster, violence, because it's fun, because they like to see things burn, like that type of evil. And
if you say orc, that's so racist.
That's racist.
I bet you support ICE too, huh?
Yeah. So, incidentally, you see that kind of just chaotic evil alignment in mankind as well. You see that a lot on,
Yeah.
But anyway, and so like basically thugs in society, a lot, they behave that way. So, so I can visualize that, but even them, they're not like truly fully chaotic, right? Because if they were, then they would want to do away with any type of order, but they're really not, because they want some type of order, because they want enough order that it's going to benefit them, right?
Yeah.
So
but they're happy to see chaos and things for their own pleasure of viewing. But
I feel like there are some people who are total anarchists. Is that how you'd say it?
Violent anarchists.
Yeah, anarchists. Yeah.
Yeah, anarchists. I feel like they're like total anarchists and believe there should be no laws. Like there has to be at least someone out there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's different schools of that. Like there's anarcho-communists, which like they want to tear down society and have like a stateless society where everyone is forced to give up their wealth to the collective. But then there's also anarcho-capitalists like Murray Rothbard, for instance, who think that there shouldn't be a government at all, and people acting in their own interests would provide the best possible outcomes for society by self-organizing in their own interests.
Yeah. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think there's a lot of merit to that, but I can't go all the way with it. Our religion teaches us that government is ordained by God, but that it is limited to specific functions outlined in the Constitution. So I can't go all the way with that. But I do think that, as you get less and less government, the outcomes on the net, on the whole, are going to be better and better, particularly as you have a society of people that is, good people, righteous, things like that. They care for each other, that kind of a thing. And then with the anarcho-communists, all you're going to get there is you're going to get murder and bloodshed and devastation and horror.
Yeah.
And that's been proven out in history over and over again. So anyway, yeah. So the lawful and the chaotic, and because like you can have in D&D, the lawful and the chaotic evils are like different classes of fiends, right? So you have lawful evil is the devils, right? And then the chaotic evil are the demons, right? And then other monsters would kind of fit variously under those umbrellas as well. So there's a bit of a difference there. So I guess the implication is that the devils, you know, respect a hierarchy and an authority and a structure more than the demons, who are more like they just are agents of just more devastation, disorder.
They're agents of impulse.
Yeah. So, but even so, like if you were to go through the manual and look at them, like, you know, they would have some kind of order because there are lesser demons and stuff. So it's like there is a hierarchy, there is a structure, right? It's not completely without order, right? It's not entirely chaotic. So it's kind of an interesting question, right? Because there is no benefit to the absolute absence of chaos. It doesn't benefit anything or anyone.
Yeah.
And the more order and structure that we have, depending on what dimension we're talking about, we often have better outcomes. Now, I'm not talking about government, right? I'm talking about, you know, just like in like created things, right? So, for instance, if you have like a factory, right, and you want to produce all kinds of widgets, right? Is it going to make a difference how you arrange the machinery in the factory and how it's put together? Or do you think you can just like throw all the parts around randomly in the factory and wait for your widgets to come popping out the assembly line?
Yeah.
It takes order, it takes structure, right? And planning and things like that. All of these are, I think, the opposite of chaos, right? And lawful, right? So it's kind of bringing things into an order. So, and only by doing that is there any benefit at all? So there's no benefit being completely chaotic. So now maybe I'm missing the picture here. Maybe I'm barking up on the wrong tree. I could be, and
I think you probably are misinterpreting it a little bit.
Think so?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at some of the like foundations of this. So I actually used ChatGPT to help me out here. So I asked, what were law versus chaos alignment dimensions in D&D inspired by? And the law versus chaos alignment axis in Dungeons and Dragons was primarily inspired by Michael Moorcock's fantasy novels, especially his Eternal Champion cycle, and to a lesser degree, early influences like Paul Anderson's 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. You recognize that book, Abigail?
I think I've heard the title before. Do I have it?
Yeah, it's on your bookshelf. I bought it for you from the used bookstore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So we got Michael Moorcock's Law and Chaos Cosmology. So he's got works like Elric, the Melnibone, and the Eternal Champion, and all that stuff. So he says neither side is purely good or evil. Excessive law can be tyrannical, okay, while excessive chaos can be destructive, which we've noted, right? So this duality deeply influenced the early D&D designers. But it doesn't seem like he has any kind of like good or evil. It's like this law and chaos kind of struggle. And then Paul Anderson's 3 Hearts and 3 Lions. Anderson's novel featured a similar metaphysical struggle between law and chaos, with lawful forces representing human civilization and Christianity, and chaotic forces representing fairy magic and entropy. So
I think that the separation between lawful, neutral, and chaotic can sort of be turned into 3 categories. Lawful is the following of a code. Neutral is the following of your self-benefit. And chaotic is the following of impulse. Basically, you have something, you stick to it, but with 5th edition, they basically just give you more options instead of more gray area to work with.
What did you say neutral's definition was?
Your own benefit.
Self-benefit.
Yeah, I think that's right for neutral, but I didn't quite agree with the one for evil because I feel like
No, chaos.
yeah, chaos. That's what I meant.
Chaotic is following your impulse.
No, I don't know if it's impulses, but like I feel like it's taking the selfish part of neutral and taking it a step farther.
That is
not impulse.
I kind of like that actually, Josh. I think that's actually
well,
a pretty good
it's
analysis. I think that's a pretty good analysis actually. Now, yeah, because the neutral is like, you know, what's, you know, what is, you know, what benefits you personally, but the chaotic is like, oh, I see this window, I'm just going to go smash it, you know, just because it's fun, you know, like just impulse stuff, you know, bad behavior or like just behavior that's based on, but then you can have a chaotic good, right? So what would chaotic good look like in that case?
Impulsive,
like you're controlled by your impulse, you're impulsively good?
I think you are impulsively acting, but you try to do the right thing. You are a creature driven heavily by your emotions, but you want to help people.
So you might sort of have throw caution to the wind and like you know, attack a guard or something who seems to be abusing some person instead of like letting the law take its course.
Yeah, you
impulsively good or whatever.
I feel like the chaotic good is defined by someone who is unable to help themselves from letting bad things happen. Hi, Greta.
All right, so let's put a bookmark in that because we're going to kind of dive a little bit deeper. So Michael Moorcock, I didn't know too much about him, but I read this book, Master of Adventure: The Worlds of Edgar Rice Burroughs.
I got you that one for Christmas.
Yeah, so I read it, and it actually had, this edition has a foreword by Michael Moorcock, and it's kind of funny. I like reading it. I kind of got a sour taste about Michael Moorcock because, oh yay, America.
This is our American.
Yeah. Yay. I kind of like a bad taste in my mouth for Michael Moorcock because he was talking about how, reading Edgar Rice Burroughs didn't corrupt him like the uptight librarians of his youth said they would. And as proof for that, he offered that he has grown up to be a leftist. And it's like, oh, that's your evidence that you're a good person? You're a leftist? So that I just like, ew. And so that to me kind of like completely like undermines what he might think about like law or chaos or any kind of alignment, anything, because it's like, well, what I'm going to take instruction about, what's good or bad or, a value not from a leftist like Michael Moorcock. I don't think so. Yeah. So I just thought that was worth bringing up, but America face. All right. So I also asked ChatGPT. I was like, okay, because D&D didn't used to always have this 9-point alignment system. D&D was like, it started out with, like I said, the 3 lawful, neutral, and chaotic. And then when there was the Holmes Basic set, where J. Eric Holmes basically took the very confusing Brown Book mess and turned it into like a game that you can follow, a marketable game. He introduced the 5-point alignment system. So he had the 3 existing ones: law, neutral, and chaos. And then he had, I think it was like a lawful evil and chaotic evil or something like that. Anyway, it was a 5-point alignment system. Now, when Gary Gygax wrote AD&D, he came out with the 9-point alignment system that has, basically the intersection of these dimensions, right? So I asked ChatGPT, in the 9-point alignment system of AD&D, how should we understand the law and chaos dimensions? So it says, excellent question. So thanks, Chat.
Yeah, it loves it.
So it talks about how, the law chaos axis is one of the 2 fundamental moral dimensions, the other being good and evil, where good and evil describes moral outlooks and motivations, how one treats others, values, life, etc. Law and chaos
I can
describes
explain these better than Chat.
attitude toward order, structure, and the nature of the cosmos. So hopefully it explains that a little bit better, because I feel like I've kind of covered that stuff already. It's like, okay, law according to what framework? According to government, according to religion, according to something else, some kind of third way. All right, so if we take a look, we have lawful characters believe in order, structure, predictability. Okay, both in society and in personal conduct. Principles, lawful beings value rules, traditions, and hierarchy. Okay, so they're like conservative. Is that right?
Yeah.
They believe that society functions best when people uphold their duties and obey rightful authority. Okay, what rightful authority? It doesn't define it, does it?
I think that's the purpose of lawful as an alignment itself, is that your character, you choose the rightful authority that your character follows as a lawful alignment. Because every person is different, they're not all going to be the same type of lawful alignment, and some of them might follow their code of conduct better than others, and that could add interesting character moments.
Okay. All right. Personality traits: dutiful, disciplined, reliable, respectful of authority, and loyal. Okay, that all makes sense, except that it doesn't really explain who the authority is. But going back to what you said, the character decides what the authority is. But does that still make sense when we line it up with good and evil? Because what if their authority is, flawed? Are they still good?
Well, that is where the good and evil part comes in. I would say that lawful good is the following of a highly righteous, highly close-cased code. So in World War II, there was a conscientious objector named Desmond Doss, and he worked as a medic. And he religiously believed he would not touch a gun after he got into a fight with his father and held him at gunpoint. So I would consider that to be a lawful good sort of human, because you have this code of conduct, and you are willing to literally risk your life while still keeping that code of conduct and your values intact.
Yeah, I don't know. Because you could also classify that as lawful neutral if you talk about how he could have saved more lives had he helped if he was fighting on the right side
Well, he
of
was
World War II.
He was an American.
Okay, then he could have helped, he could have made it quicker and helped more people possibly if he had fought with a gun. And so you could put that as neutral.
Well, the thing is, that's the problem, because you could call that lawful neutral, but his code of law is different than yours. But to his code of law, he is good. That's sort of like the flexibility of law, neutral, and chaos.
So does a devil who is lawful evil, do they consider themselves evil, even though they're obedient to their lawful structure?
Well, with a devil, I think they might be a little narcissistic in that sort of way. Probably not.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we gotta think of them as distinct things, right?
I gotta get confirmation from Monkey, Abby.
With the, like it says up here, good and evil describes and values life, etc. Well, law and chaos is strictly about order and structure. So without reference to good and bad, really, it's just about, so, you know, we've got examples here. A paladin who follows a sacred code, even at a personal cost, is lawful. A judge who upholds the law impartially, believing the system itself is sacred, right? And a devil whose evil is bound by contracts and rigid hierarchy.
So that's interesting, because we were just talking about a lawful devil, because I don't know.
Well, in the term of lawful for something like a devil or for an evil person, it's usually in the understanding that the villainous character is a part of the hierarchy, or high up on the hierarchy of their lawful evil totem pole, allowing for them to easily sort of like act as this sort of false idol of what you should be.
But even the minions of the devils are lawful evil, so they have the same alignment, and they don't have trouble, you know, fitting into the hierarchy. You know what I mean? So it's not really a matter of position that dictates whether or not they're going to be loyal to the order. It's more that they have a preference or an affinity naturally to that kind of order.
I think with devils, it's more of like a natural order, because of the idea that one devil is stronger than a different devil, therefore that devil that is weaker is lower on the totem pole.
So like,
it is
survives.
It's a rule. It's a rule of force.
So like fittest to survive.
No, the fittest rule.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay.
No,
and then we have chaos here. So we've got chaotic characters value freedom, individuality, and spontaneity above order or conformity. Okay, so I can appreciate that because I value those things as well. So would that make me? So here's the thing: like, if I try to classify myself as what my alignment is, with reference, again, the question comes up with reference to what? Because I consider myself good, although there would be some leftists that disagree, but I consider myself good.
Yeah.
So good alignment, fine. But
You're definitely
am I
you're
chaotic
lawful
good?
to God, though. So
Yeah. So here's the thing. Yeah, I'm chaotic good with reference to government, but I'm lawful good with reference to the Lord. So which one am I?
yeah.
which dimension? Like what would I write down as my alignment on my character sheet for myself?
Well, that would be entirely on what you deem to be more pressingly important to you as a person.
Or would it be more like based on my role in society, right? So what am I subject to? So if I'm a fighter, I'm under authority of the government, like everybody. But if I'm a man of the cloth, I'm under the authority of the ecclesiastical. So is it more like your character class would determine that? You know what I mean? So if I was me in the game, right? And I know we don't like strictly play ourselves, but like if I was trying to make a character sheet for me and it was about me and I was a fighter, right? Would my alignment go down as chaotic good?
I don't know.
I like freedom, I like individuality.
Well,
I feel like
the thing is that I think ChatGPT got the definitions a little wrong when it comes to the D&D alignment.
Yeah, I think that I feel like God, so if you're lawful to God, freedom and individuality go hand in hand with that. Because how could Jesus Christ love us each personally if we weren't individuals?
Yeah, well, I agree with you, but as far as the game goes, you have to make a decision. Am I chaotic good? And chaos is freedom and individuality. Or am I lawful good? And lawful is order, structure.
That's where I think my definition sort of helps clear the waters a little bit. Lawful is the following of a strict code, and you could say that good, neutral, evil just shows how good or bad you are at following that code, or either how loose or strict you are at following that code.
I don't know, because I feel
I'm
like
not done. I'm just joking.
You're making me
Well, what about okay, so then if good or evil means how good you are at following your code, then how is a devil lawful evil? Are they just really bad at following their order and structure?
I know, that's what I was going to say.
So.
Your definition you just gave is flawed.
Well,
no, let me talk. Because if it was just how bad they were, like if it was good and they were just good at following their order and then evil was just bad at following your order, I think it should be whether your order is for good or for evil.
Yeah.
Well, it can be both, because when you're talking about a devil, one is not going to assume that they are going to follow the rules, even of a code that their own society has imposed upon them. They're going to look for loopholes, ways out, ways to use the system to their advantage. It's sort of their entire nature as an enemy in the game.
All right, so we probably would be remiss if we didn't bring this back to basics, or I guess back to advanced zises. Because Gary Gygax kind of gave us the first structure for this, so we should take a look and see what he said about alignments. We'll see if that might help us out a little bit. Okay, so let's go down. It's actually alignment is going to be on page 34 or 33. Here's alignment, page 33. So I'm going to like jump to that page. So here's alignment. Now it looks like he put them in alphabetical order, which is kind of interesting. But he said chaotic evil. And I have to say, like, I'm not a fan particularly of how the book's laid out, but I love the book for what it is. You know, I love it, but it's like, it's not helpful. It's not helping me, but I love it. So, all right. So this chaotic evil. So says the major precepts of this alignment are freedom, randomness, and woe. Laws and order, kindness and good deeds are disdained. Life has no value. By promoting chaos and evil, those of this alignment hope to bring themselves to positions of power, glory, and prestige in a system ruled by individual caprice and their own whims. Okay, so go ahead.
Sorry. That's what I was saying earlier, that it's like neutral, or as you would say, selfish, but taken a step farther, and not just done for personal reasons, but done to make you better than everybody else in society.
All right, so this is like, you know, there is an order in chaotic evil. Because you're looking for positions. How can there be positions if there's not any structure? Positions of glory, power, glory, and prestige, but it is achieved through individual caprice and their own whims. Okay, so it's more individualistic. So I wonder if this order and chaos, or law and chaos, maybe it's just mislabeled, you know? Maybe it's individualism and, you know, something else. I don't know about collectivism, but maybe it's individualism and adherence to code or something like that.
Moralism.
All right, let's take a look here. We got chaotic good. So, well, creatures of this alignment view freedom and the randomness of action as ultimate truths. They likewise place value on life and the welfare of each individual. Respect for individualism is also great. By promoting the gods of chaotic good, characters of this alignment seek to spread their values throughout the world. Okay, so maybe, okay. So it looks like Gary wanted to solve this by making no difference between the religious world and the chaotic alignment, you know? So if you chose chaotic, if you chose the side of like individual freedom, then, you know, your gods would be chaotic neutral or chaotic good gods. Right? So they would just represent that. So what about in our campaign world where we have a monotheistic or a monolithic religion?
You said our religion?
No, in our game world. So where we have like a monolithic church that is regarded by basically everybody, except for like heathens or, you know, cultists and, you know, barbarians or whatever, right? So in a situation like that, you wouldn't just have like chaotic good gods, right? Because like everyone regards the church. So does that destroy the paradigm? You know what I mean? Is it...
I think it changes the paradigm.
Is it incompatible?
I think it would require a change of the definition.
Yeah.
Because these 9 alignments were written for the idea of a polytheistic.
Yeah, wildly polytheistic cosmos, right?
Yeah, it was written in the idea of like a sort of a mixture of medieval times with Greek mythology and stuff like that, and all the sort of landmarks of fantasy, of pantheons and stuff like that. So I feel like in our campaign world, the 9 alignments would better be suited as to actually what, not to toot my own horn, but to as what I described as my interpretation of lawful, neutral, and chaotic.
I liked your definition, except for like the lawful part. Like I think
The adherence to a code?
I like that part, but not like the one you said how they're just that good or that bad at following the code.
So adherence to a code higher than themselves, right?
Yeah.
Or is lawful,
Mm-hmm.
and respecting your own interests first is neutral.
Yeah.
And then I guess,
Submission to impulses.
yeah, submission to impulses is chaotic. I think that might work. I think that works.
Oh my gosh, did we pin it down?
Maybe for our campaign we did.
Maybe for our campaign, yeah. Let's keep going. So we got chaotic neutral. All right, so that's this one here. Above respect for life and good or disregard for life and promotion of evil, the chaotic neutral places randomness and disorder. Good and evil are complementary balance arms. Neither are preferred, nor must either prevail, for ultimate chaos would then suffer. This is the neutrals is a weird one. Like, you know what I mean? Like to be like totally indifferent. It's hard for me to picture, but maybe that's just because I'm not that way. I know that like in Revelation, the Lord says, because thou art neither hot nor cold, but art lukewarm, I will spew thee out of my mouth. Kind of talking about, I guess, people that are of neutral alignment, they're lukewarm, they're not hot or cold on things.
Yeah. I feel like a chaotic neutral could unironically best be described as Emma Watson.
Chaotic neutral?
Yes. She is entirely for herself and will flex with the times to benefit herself.
So she's impulsive and she's selfish. Well, yeah. Well, impulsive would be chaotic, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she's selfish. Okay. Because neutral, I always kind of consider that to be essentially selfish. Like basically, in order to understand that, you have to kind of consider it as like, you're selfish. You don't have any higher purpose. That's what it seems like anyway in practice. Lawful evil. Let's see. Creatures of this alignment are great respecters of laws and strict order, but life, beauty, truth, freedom, and the like are held as valueless or at least scorned. By adhering to stringent discipline, those of lawful evil alignment hope to impose their yoke upon the world. Okay. So that's your devils. So, and that makes sense. Like, denying people freedom.
Hey, Dad.
The dogs. We're gonna have
the dogs
moment here with the dogs.
The dogs are moving. We need to electrocute them.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need to call down the dude.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, so I can see like devils being like against freedom, right? Because they're going to make, and in our actual cosmology of our religion, they are, like they're anti-freedom. They want to enslave. And they've always been against exercising of agency. So, all right, let's take a look at lawful good. Lawful good. So while as strict in their prosecution of law and order, characters of lawful good alignment follow these precepts to improve the common weal. Certain freedoms must, of course, be sacrificed in order to bring order, but truth is of the highest value and life and beauty of great importance. The benefits of this society are to be brought to all.
Yeah.
So so what about the HOA Nazi? Okay. Like you got too many flowers planted in your front yard, and the HOA Nazi is going to come by and tell you that it's not permitted. What's the HOA Nazis' alignment? Are they lawful good?
They're lawful evil because they're following their code so strictly that it comes to the disadvantage of everyone else.
Okay, so they're not regarding welfare of others, but they are honoring the code to the detriment of others.
Lawful good would be like the classic tale of a knight and their code of chivalry, saving the maiden from the dragon.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's take a look at, let's see, we got lawful neutral next. So those of this alignment view regulation as all important, taking a middle road betwixt good and evil. So lukewarm, I guess. This is because the ultimate harmony of the world and the whole of the universe is considered by lawful neutral creatures to have its sole hope rest upon law and order. Evil or good are immaterial beside the determined purpose of bringing all to predictability and regulation. So this one seems to be, maybe this one could be HOA Karen too, right?
Which one is this one?
So evil and good are immaterial beside the determined purpose of bringing all to predictability and regulation.
Whoa.
I feel like lawful neutral is more of like a preacher alignment.
Okay.
Because you are wanting to bring people to your side, but unlike the lawful evil, you're not going to force them. You're just going to highly encourage them.
I don't know. It doesn't really sound right to me. I feel like lawful neutral, like, which are we? No, Josh, do not. Which aspect are we talking about it in this situation?
It looks to me like the lawful neutral is, they're neither good or evil particularly, and they don't particularly care about that, but they're looking for a harmony, basically, an order. They just want everything to be in its place, but they don't really care who's doing right and who's wrong. They just want everything arranged properly.
They're probably like just the pessimists who do good things. That's what it sounds like to me. Just like an HOA person who is gonna write you up to get promoted or something like that. I don't know.
Hey, you can't plant your tree within 3 feet of the sidewalk or whatever, right? Yeah.
You actually have a basketball on your lawn? That's awful.
All right. So, and then we got neutral evil. So neutral evil reading through all this and having this discussion, like, it really kind of almost makes me think that, like, it's just a lot simpler with a 3-point alignment system. I feel like you actually have more flexibility that way. And the more dimensions you add into alignment, the more it gets
Enclosed.
harder to determine, where someone should be. But I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't want to abandon the 9-point alignment system. And in Dragon Slayer, with a game that we play, we use the 9-point alignment system just like AD&D. But I just kind of think like, if it were me, I would probably stick to a 3-point. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I quite like this system, but
I would stick to the 3-point and I'd give it my definitions.
I feel like the 3-point has its benefits, but I also think that if you want a stricter game, this one also has its benefits.
Well, I have to say there's something intriguing about it, having these two different matrices going here, or within a matrix, I guess, these two different intersections. It's intriguing. It certainly is kind of interesting, but it does bring challenges, right? Hence this whole video that we're having, trying to figure it out, trying to really dissect it. Okay, neutral evil. The neutral evil character views law and chaos as unnecessary considerations, for pure evil is all in all. Either might be used, but both are disdained as foolish clutter, useless in eventually bringing maximum evilness to the world.
So, is this just somebody who does everything for their own benefit, but in the most horrendous way possible?
So it looks to me like neutral evil is just all in on evil and doesn't have any care about law or chaos. They look at that as irrelevant. They're like, why are we worrying about law and chaos? Let's just bring in the evil.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I see.
All right. So, and then we're almost done here with these. And then we got neutral good. Unlike those directly opposite them, neutral evil, in alignment, characters of neutral good believe that there must be some regulation in combination with freedoms if the best is to be brought to the world, the most beneficial conditions for living things in general and intelligent creatures in particular. So this is like, what is this? Like, hey, let's be good, but let's be politically moderate.
So, just like someone who does things for other people, just does good things, but
yeah, it's like, hey, let's vote for Mitt Romney kind of thing, Is that? Anyway, yeah, I think this is like, okay, let's be good, but you don't want to be like, you're like moderate when it comes to freedom versus law. I guess you're trying to strike a balance there. Okay, let's look at true neutral. Now it's interesting because when I was playing Palladium role-playing games, so like Rifts and all that stuff, they had a completely different alignment system, and they didn't have a neutral. And because Kevin Simbita was like pretty emphatic that there's no such thing as being neutral. Neutral is like no opinion. You're like not acting on anything. You're just kind of stuck in between. So he said there is no neutral, no truly neutral. And so I've always kind of thought that maybe the word neutral might be a little flawed in the alignment system, but we have it, so we use it. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
I don't think about it as neutral. Like, I think about it as what you said it as, like, just extremely selfish. Like, I don't think it's just not caring in general, but instead not caring about other people's needs or anything else in the world but your needs.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, being concerned for your own immediate things first, and then like being indifferent to everything else, I guess. All right. So true neutral. The true neutral looks upon all other alignments as facets of the system of things. Thus, each aspect, evil and good, chaos and law, of things must be retained in balance to maintain the status quo. For these things, as they are, cannot be improved upon except temporarily, and even then, but superficially. Nature will prevail and keep things as they were meant to be, provided the wheel surrounding the hub of nature does not become unbalanced due to the work of unnatural forces, such as human and other intelligent creatures interfering with what is meant to be. All right. So this is like, yeah, this one is like the most wishy-washy of all of them. I think I might like find this one the most annoying of all. Like they don't take a stand on anything. Am I interpreting that right? Do you think?
With how this is written, yeah. This truly feels like that one guy who goes like, eh.
Yeah, kind of feels that way. I'm neutral. And your neutral gods are like, I'm going to pray to my neutral gods. Please give me something that's, not great and not terrible. Something that's, and the neutral god's like,
Eh.
Maybe.
Maybe. I'll think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like the council of all these polytheistic gods are there sitting around, and then it's like
Half of them
neutral
going
god. What do you say? Yeah. He's always like,
I don't know. Extra sacrifices.
Yeah. He's the he's the god of.
It's funny to think that they have a council. It's even more funny to think that they're like, all right, all the true neutral gods, they don't get to be there.
No, they're there, but like,
they're there.
I don't think anyone pays. No one pays much attention to them.
But they're like at like a.
They don't care.
They're at like a kiddie table. They have like a pizza box, just going like meh. Meh.
What do you want for dinner?
Meh.
Yeah, I could go with anything, Yeah, the ultimate chill guy,
Yeah,
perfect.
Yeah. How do you feel about this? Man, whatever. Okay, cool. Well, anything else you guys want to add to the alignment discussion?
No,
I think we covered it.
Do you feel like you understand alignment better, or did we just muddy the waters further?
I hope that at least we cleared up the waters a tiny bit.
Yeah, I think we have some pretty good definitions.
Yeah. Do you think people will come and roast us in the comments? We like they might like, look, I suffered through your whole video, and then you still didn't get it at the end, and then I'm typing. Okay, well, leave your comment and we'll see what you say. I don't know. Maybe you have some wisdom to impart.
Leave a comment. We get more publicity. We thank you.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Have a good night, and take it easy. And, I was going to say stay neutral, but that.
Well, probably don't do that.
I hope your night's.
Yeah.
All right. Just kidding. All right. Have a great
Rolling 20s.
Awesome. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. I almost said love you, bye.